The Massillon Tigers dominated St. Francis de Sales Stallions Friday night in Columbus, Ohio, third round of the OHSAA football playoffs by defeating St. Francis de Sales 48-14. Welcome, my friends, to another sports edition of the Buckeye Vinnie YouTube channel sports show. They call me the face of Ohio high school football. My friends, let's get right into this game. What more can you say? Massillon Tigers jumped out early and often on the Stallions of Columbus, Ohio. And my friends, at this point, St. Francis didn't know what hit them. St. Francis de Sales, at a halftime, the score was 27-7. The Massillon Tigers jumping out early. Final score 48-14. Second half, my friends, it really wasn't much better. Massillon outscored St. Francis de Sales 21-7. It was just one of those games that I predicted that Massillon would win this game, and they sure did. This was one of those games that St. Francis de Sales did not have an answer to stop the mighty Massillon Tigers rushing attack. Check out these stats. Total rushing yards. Massillon 309. Francis de Sales 54. Wow. Total offense. Massillon Tigers 343 yards Friday night to St. Francis de Sales 179. Now, my friends, I look at this and I knew that the Stallions would have trouble trying or attempting to stop the Massillon Tigers rushing attack. Now, Massillon came in averaging 164 rushing yards coming into this game Friday night. And you know what? Bottom line, that average tremendously just went up. Check out these stats. Xavier Owens, 18 carries, 215 yards on the night, and 3 rushing touchdowns. Bottom line, his best game as a Massillon Tiger. And how about Anthony McMullen Jr.? 14 carries, 80 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. And Sebastian Harper got in on the action. 4 carries, 20 yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. My friends, bottom line, I knew coming into this game that the Massillon Tigers obviously had the stronger schedule in 2025. And my friends, if you don't think that doesn't help a team, think again. It definitely helps a team playing the harder opponents. What it does is it gets that team ready for OHSAA football playoffs. And it did just that. Now, we're talking about a very hot team right now, which is the Massillon Tigers. They have won 8 out of their last 9 games. That is tremendous. It really is. Won 8 out of their last 9. So right now, my friends, like I said, it's not so much how you start the season. It's how you finish the season. Then you look at St. Francis. They finished their season 9 wins, 3 losses. Massillon Tigers currently 9 wins and 3 losses on the year. And, it just comes to a point that I mentioned, that Massillon's offensive line have been playing lights out this whole season. Massillon's defense, what more can you say? In the last 2 playoff games, they stymied a very good North Canton Hoover Vikings team, holding them to just 7 points. And let's be honest, they definitely stymied R.J. Day. R.J. Day, just a week ago, set an all-time passing record for St. Francis de Sales with 482 passing yards and 3 touchdowns against Ashland last week. This is all R.J. Day could muster against the Tigers. 13 out of 26, 2 interceptions, only thrown for 125 yards, and he did have a touchdown pass. You know, my friends, bottom line, this defense for Massillon continues to improve week in and week out. This is a defense led by Isaac Maxheimer, leads the team in tackles, also ended up getting a fumble recovery against St. Francis Desales. Jaden Williams, Bishop Cup, Traylon Williams all played a very good game. And then you look at defensive line. Zayshawn Murray, a defensive lineman with an interception. Deontay Malone, also with an INT. And Noah Jenkins did a splendid job in the secondary, covering their leading receiver, Dax Middleton, who only caught 5 balls for 58 yards, and he did score a touchdown. But their big tight end, Jordan Karhoff, only 1 catch for just 8 yards. My friends, bottom line, you know, a lot of people doubted me with my prediction. Okay? Coming into this game, St. Francis Desales was ranked number 2 seed in Division II, Region 7. And I just knew between this very difficult, hard schedule for Massillon this season, and with the way the D-line and the linebacking core have been playing all season long, I knew that the defense for Massillon was going to cause major havoc for the St. Francis Desales offense and R.J. Day. Now, you know, my friends, bottom line, you know, I studied this St. Francis Desales team. I knew they were a good team. I did not like their, for the most part, kind of an easy schedule. And then I look over, on the other hand, the Massillon Tigers, you know, beating Division I Camp McKinley, taking down Cornerstone Christian Academy from San Antonio, Texas, beating Cardinal Ritter from St. Louis, Missouri. Bottom line, my friends, they have played the cream of the crop. Let's not forget defeating Division I St. Ed's Eagles 21-14. So I took all of that, and I knew that Massillon was going to bring their A game, and they did just that. And let's not forget Deontay Malone's 80-yard kickoff return to the house. You know, bottom line, not just the offense is playing well and the defense is playing well, but the special teams for Massillon Tigers have been playing lights-out football. So, my friends, bottom line, what a game it was. Massillon improves to now 9-3 on the season. St. Francis Desales, their season stops, winning 9, losing 3. You know, you got to give credit to Coach Ryan Wiggins for the Stallions. You know, he brought a good team in. You know, let's not forget that comeback victory last week in the playoffs, defeating Ashland. But my friends, bottom line, I knew coming into this game that the Stallions were going to have their hands full with the Massillon Tigers and Coach Nate Moore, and that's exactly what happened. You know, it was one of those games that they had trouble stopping the Massillon Tigers' rushing attack. And I said that for me, I thought St. Francis Desales was too much of a single type offense, okay, where they were only counting on R.J. Day's arm and hoping that R.J. Day would come through. And unfortunately, my friends, you've got to be a dual threat team. You have to have a good rushing attack, which opens up the passing game. In this case, not so. Net rushing yards, Massillon 309 to St. Francis Desales 54. Wow. Wow. Like I mentioned, a big turning point in this game. You know, go back and watch my videos. I said that St. Francis were going to have their hands full attempting to stop Xavier Owens, Anthony McMullen Jr., Sebastian Harper, and Christian Kohler. You know, this is a very fundamental football team. This is a team that can beat you passing. This is a team that definitely can beat you rushing the ball. And the Massillon Tigers showed why. They are the 3rd seed in Division II, Region 7. Once again, my friends, the Massillon Tigers destroy St. Francis de Sales Stallions Friday night in Columbus, 48-14. My friends, if you like this video, which I hope you all do, please click the like button. Like always, please check out Super Thanks, new on my channel. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please click on that subscribe button. My friends, like always, peace out. God bless you all. Keep the faith. Click on this face right up here to subscribe. And until next time, tune in to my next video of Massillon Tigers heading to the 4th round of the playoffs. And they will be taking on Big Walnut. What a game that should be. Like always, my friends, keep on watching, keep on subscribing, and keep on liking. Buckeye Vinny is out of here.